All right, YouTube, it is time to strike the corporate media, the TV and radio and newsprint of the world, the lumbering, malevolent dinosaur that keeps lying to everyone. I will say this first, and this message is to other larger politically minded YouTubers as well as small networks, anyone on social media with any substantial presence at all. My suggestion is that in a semi-coordinated way, not necessarily, we need a website, a hub to organize this. You don't need that. One of the biggest advantages social media has is it's decentralized. There's no central leader of any movement or anything like that because people can debate over the minutia. What I suggest is that we immediately begin attacking the corporate media. The time is right for it. We now have more power than they do in terms of the number of fans we have collectively. Than any of these large networks, number one. Number two, trust in the media is basically non-existent at this point, which it should be. I mean, they are lying to everyone constantly. And the third reason is it's a moral crusade of sorts. I try to bring people truth. And if I'm giving my opinion, I say, yeah, this is my opinion. This is what I think. Here's my prediction. It's not objective. We try to give people opinions and truth that actually they can connect with, they can interact with, they can comment on it. There's, not necessarily any real censorship on this platform and many others that we're using as, political analysts or whatever we might term ourselves. That's not the case with TV and radio and newsprint, certainly. That's all highly censored. It's corporate swill. And everybody in the country here and everybody in the world at large where you're affected by a corporate, especially state co-opted media like you'd get in some countries, everyone suffers from them. They're inefficient. They're expensive. It's very expensive for them to reach anybody. And they just lie. It's all bias. There's nothing that any mainstream pundit can do that a person can't do with a laptop and a webcam. Other than set up, a multi-million-dollar studio. Other than that, which is just bells and jingly little bells and whistles for looks alone. Other than that, they have no advantage. They have a severe disadvantage. The average audience of some of these people on TV is, approaching 70 years of age. No insult meant to people who are that old that may be watching this video, but that's older than the general population. Many of their viewers are getting towards the end of their life, and they're not really being replaced. Their viewership is down almost across the board. Now is the time to strike back against them, because I'll tell you what's going to happen. If we do not weaken further the corporate media, they will continue doing what they've been doing, which is they want to have a social media presence. They desperately want it. They see how lucrative it is. They see some individual with like 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and they're making all this money with almost no investment. You think CNN and Fox and all these groups don't want a slice of that pie? Of course they do. It's increasingly where people get their news anyway. They want to corner the market. The only way they can do that is by attacking us. By attacking people who talk about politics and current events and things of that nature on YouTube. It's the same as what religion would do. You have some religious movement. It sees, all of these other movements are proliferating online. We need a presence there. And those that got there early and made that transition are, they do better in the PR sense than groups that took longer. The corporate media is a step behind all of us when it comes to efficiency, when it comes, in many cases, to audience. There are single YouTubers not associated with a network. They're not part of a corporation. They're not part of a business. They're able to make a nice, comfy living just making YouTube videos. And the corporate media really wants that. They want the ad revenue. They want everything. So here's my suggestion. There are plenty of people in the tags. If you notice that I'm talking about anyone, you can go take it to all the other political minds on YouTube. Now that I've got enough of a subscription base here, so when I say something, maybe they see it. In general, I know Sargon's commented on my stuff. Cernovich and Sam Hyde and some of these others are aware of my material. Hopefully they take it up as well. A general striking back against the corporate media could take the form of nothing more than a bunch of YouTubers and people with popular Twitters and Facebook pages and also their own websites and so forth, encouraging all of their fans to cancel their newspaper subscriptions, regardless of what newspaper it is. And it should be across the board, no playing favorites. Cancel their subscription to any news services on cable TV, or at the very least don't watch them. Don't use the websites of these corporate media firms, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, RT, BBC, whatever it happens to be. Just ignore them completely. If they must visit them for some compelling reason, use ad blocking software. And if they must share the material for any compelling reason, archive it first so they're further starved of revenue. By doing this, we can significantly decrease their income. We can significantly impact their traffic. And hopefully we can weaken them enough so that they're no longer in any state to attack us. Because that's what they will, of necessity, need to do. There's money to be made, therefore there's corruption. At some point, they're going to come after us. Whether it's through censorship or hiring armies of shills to try to shit up our material to make us look like we've lost popularity and sold out. I've seen them doing this already. Don't think that it's not already happening, at least to some limited degree. They're already testing the waters. We don't have a great deal of time, maybe a couple of years before they're organized enough to do so on a much larger basis. But if we strike them first, if we strike them preemptively, we stand a damn good chance of denigrating them completely on their online platforms, relegating them to TV where they belong so that they slowly starve and die out. And that's the best case scenario that we can hope for. That's what we should be aiming for. Because they're just lying to us anyway. It's personal. They lie to me as much as they lie to any of my subscribers. They lie to Sargon, they lie to Molnu, they lie to Varg, they lie to all of you. Left, right, center, you're a libertarian, you're a primitivist, you're like into ethnic nationalism, cultural nationalism, whatever the hell it happens to be, it doesn't matter. You're still getting lied to by these groups. Increasingly, people aren't even bothering to I have to put links in my description. It's just sort of a compelling urge that I happen to have. I try to archive them. If it's one of the mainstream orders, it's going to get archived at this point. I finally learned how to do that. I didn't even know I could do that at first, so I was a little bit behind the curve there compared to some. But it's what we need to do for fairness and for an open internet. If we end up getting more and more censored and these companies move in and get more and more support, they're robbing it from us. And then they're using that extra audience to just lie to people more anyway. They can't be trusted. These people are controlled by banks and corporations of various stripes. They all fund every single one of these media orders practically. They've bought and sold them completely. Well, that's corruption. That's not a free press. That's not actual news. It's just a bunch of biased analysis that could be supplied by any half-assed individual with a webcam. That's all it is. And they have to spend tens of millions of dollars a year in many cases to do this. Can you imagine what the electrical cost is over at CNN? Can you imagine how much Fox has to pay for all of its software and all of its high-tech cameras and all that music that they constantly make and remake playing in the background every time a minor story happens? Oh, kid dropped his hot dog on Main Street. Cue the scary music. Oh, it's a national tragedy. This is what they've devolved into clickbait, too. That's the other thing. My other suggestion is that there shouldn't be centrality here. I'm not talking about all of us getting together in some sort of grand council of political YouTubers and saying, oh, let's put on the black robes and here's the way forth into the shiny new social media era. I'm saying that just by people participating in this behavior, it robs them of their audience. It denigrates them. At some point, if it hits a critical enough mass, they might even have to report on the fact that it's happening. And then they'll try to slander us all. Then it'll be even more funny because you'll have people that are right-wing, people that are left-wing. There'll be people who are more mainstream and people who are more fringe, and they're all sort of doing the same thing, and they'll have to cast it off as, oh, far-left uprising on the internet, far-right uprising, and they'll all be contradicting one another. They can't react to such things. They also have difficulty in actually coordinating such things as far as, oh, we need to encourage a boycott of such a product or something. They have difficulty doing that. They're more limited by censorship, by like the FCC and stuff. We're not. I can say to hell with people online. Nobody cares. But if somebody says that on air on a TV show and it doesn't get like bleeped or something, they get like fined $10,000. They can't talk about anything. They're so controlled, literally by the government in the case of the United States. I know the media is more or less free from state to state across the world, but invariably there is some control there. The internet, no, yeah, unless you're in one of these auxiliary states to the first world, in like Turkey or something. In the more net-connected parts of the world, the censorship tends to be less than TV or newsprint or something like that. Can you imagine your local news? All they do is print the word fuck over and over on the front page. Yeah, can you imagine how many fines they'd get? It's in our best economic interest to do this. because it gives us a larger slice collectively of the pie. Instead of bothering to compete with one another over social media views, why don't we compete with the corporate media and try to rob them of viewership? Number two, it's a moral issue. They're lying to us too. They're lying to everybody in the population. They even lie to the politicians. Even the politicians, they read the news, they're getting lied to. Some of them are actually dumb enough to take it seriously. They're directly and negatively impacting the very political fabric of most of the Western world. Not to mention all of these other countries that are maybe less net connected, and they get impacted too. They get a state-run media, it's lying to them. They have a state co-opted media, it's lying to them. They have a corporate press like we have in the United States or over in the UK, it's lying to people. You have some little off-kilter local magazine, they might be lying to people too. You can't directly interact with that content. Here on the internet, it's different. People can put you in your place if you're lying to people. You say something that's totally inaccurate. You say something that's totally fucked up. People can point it out. They can comment. There shouldn't be any censorship. I've noticed there's astonishing consistency here that networks, large corporate networks, TV era, both left, right, and center, they all censor their content to some degree or another. But then I go on YouTube, and I see people that are they're people to the left of Bernie Sanders. And I see people to the right easily of like Trump or somebody like, or Ted Cruz. And then I see centrists, I see libertarians, green, whatever it happens to be. And unless they're represented by or representing a corporation or an actual political entity, there's usually no censorship at all. They're not even filtering comments. That's the power of social media. It's giving us a thicker skin too, and that's probably what we need in this current era. We need truth more than we need, oh, happy-go-lucky unicorns and rainbows, everything's fine. Let's not talk about our problems. That's what the corporate media has been doing for a long time. Look at where it's gotten us. It's gotten us straight to hell in a handbasket. So we should stand against them. It doesn't need to be significantly coordinated. It just takes the form of, hey, all of my subscribers here, says some random YouTuber, you should cancel your subscription to all these news services. And there will be people who do that. They don't need them anymore anyway. They don't need their lies for profit or anything like that. They've got the internet. Then go on YouTube. They can pick and choose whose opinion they happen to value. There are fucking tens of thousands of people that'll give them the same stuff that they're paying for in newsprint, which is about as boring as you can possibly imagine. They're paying for on TV and they can't even interact with it. They're paying for it when they listen to the radio. You know, the only time to listen to your radio, listen to it in the car. That's okay. But you're sitting at home, don't plop yourself in front of the friggin' boob tube. Use the internet. Make content too. That's the other great advantage. Average person, let's say they coordinate it all with the media. They can't like make a vlog and then upload it to foxnews.com and have it broadcast on air or something, except in a very few rare circumstances that they pull as one-offs, especially during the presidential debates or whatever, or in some of these other major situations, political or current event related, around the world. Okay, we've got a person live from the earthquake zone. Here's Mel calling in to tell us about the damage to his home or something. That's a rarity, though. Generally, it's, hey, here's the news we want you to hear. We want you to care about this subject. Here's our biased analysis of the same. At most, it's a half-truth. People can get the actual truth online a hell of a lot easier, and if they don't see anything that represents their views, they can make content. That's the promise of social media. It helps keep politicians more accountable. We're already seeing it in the world. It helps to beat down the corporate media, the propaganda apparatus that's used by governments around the world for their ill-gotten gains. It helps keep corporations accountable. Hell, the left should be right on board with the idea of dumbing down the corporate media. You want to hold Monsanto accountable? You want to hold, the Bilderbergs accountable or whatever it is? Make a video about it. Make a tweet about it. Have a blog. Far right, same thing. You're getting censored in your home nation, slap it online. And there you go. So that's my suggestion. And, whether anyone takes part in this or not, I've already encouraged all of my subscribers to do this. I'm saying you shouldn't be watching TV. It's mind-numbing anyway. It's fucking as boring as it could possibly be. Why would you even have a subscription to a newspaper? Now, maybe you live with other people and, they watch cable news or something. You can try to prevail upon them not to do that. At the end of the day, you can't be a shitfuck about it, though. You can't be, browbeating people, turn into a total zealot. Would you shut off Fox News, shut off CNN? Okay, that's a little bit overboard, but at least online, you can encourage people to do that. I don't watch corporate news. I don't have a newspaper I subscribe to. And it's never going to happen. Why would I want to? It's boring. I'd rather be here in front of a webcam making content than absorbing other people's content. If I'm absorbing it at all, I'm doing it generally for the purposes of analyzing it, pointing out what the corporate media did wrong, how fucking stupid they are, and how much they're lying to people. And that's a good way forward, I think, for the world. Even if my contribution is quite small, it's still there. And that's something I think that I have to be proud of. That's about all. Peace out.